how difficult is that to register VAT, in any of those European countries?
So here is actually a trick.
You register for VAT in Germany, right? So how does it work?
So why should you do like the reports and all this stuff?
What are your thoughts on Ireland, Amazon Ireland, in case?
So the quicker you're gonna get the VAT.
I think these are a good starting point.
Ecom Squeezed podcast.
Hello, my name is Seb and I'm the founder of Retail-Outsource. Today we have a special guest. He's the co-founder of Extreme Brands and Scale, and he's the partnership advisor for HelloTax as well. So welcome, Nick. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and I'm glad to be here. I mean, I haven't been on as a guest speaker, recently. I do so many webinars myself that it's nice to be invited, so I can skip all the organization, which takes a lot of time.
Exactly. That's a lot of brands that you manage, right? Could you just tell us, what they do, all those brands?
Of course. I mean, the Extreme Power Brands used to be my private label supplement business. I was managing that for like 10 years. We had like a team of like 50 guys. We developed like 20 brands. Not all of them were successful, of course, but few of them were very successful. So we made, ton of money, and we sold everything into like 2020. So, and after, after we did that, I was approached by a company called HelloTax to do my VAT compliance. So I kind of accepted, and I didn't know that back then that actually they gave me an idea to set up a brand new side of my business. Now we set up a partnership agency, a partnership network, and a partnership platform. So Scale is a partnership platform. We use the tool to connect with people. It's actually industry agnostic, so it's not only for Amazon and e-commerce. Also have a partnership network with around 1,500 founders like you who offer anything, anywhere, for Amazon or e-commerce sellers. So we kind of can help with anything that you need. And of course, part of what we do at HelloTax and my network is that we help companies to expand globally. But the main focus for what we do is expansion to Europe right now.
Yeah, great. Means I have used personally, for myself, Scale, and it's really powerful tool. If you want to network, that's the first thing that you have to do. Join up, and I was surprised to get so many meetings, so many links. So I will highly recommend Scale on that side.
Yeah, networking is good regardless of the industry. So this is the cheapest way to grow, and I think the best way to grow, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, completely agree with you. And the first question I have to, most of the questions will be based on a business who is established outside of the UK.
Okay,
or outside of EU, who want to step into the EU, and we want to discuss, in terms of VAT, in terms of compliance, in terms of cost. So there are a lot of variables, that we have to think, right? So let's start with the VAT side. How difficult is that to register VAT, in any of those European countries, and which one do you suggest if you want to start with just one country?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, because for the expansion to Europe, we do something which I call it expansion to the EU blueprint. And like you mentioned, we target people who are non-EU, because the companies in the EU, it's much easier for them. They're in the continent, so they kind of know the market. But so what we do is mostly like UK companies after Brexit, US companies, because some of them don't know what is the opportunity. I'm going to give you some facts before I answer your question for the VAT, which a lot of people don't know. 98% of the Amazon sellers in the USA are not selling in Europe.
98%?
Yes,
wow.
So only 2%, don't see?
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
They spend so much on the advertising, they can spend a little of that.
Exactly. Now I'm gonna give you another stats, because we've helped probably like a few hundred brands to expand to Europe just since we started this package. So what we're seeing is that people who are doing X amount in the USA, they do 20 to 50% of what they do in the USA and Europe. So imagine, let's say you're doing like 1 million in the States, you can do like 200 to like 500 in Europe. And this is actually very important, because people are scared of Europe, and I'm not gonna lie, it's much harder to start compared to the USA, but your competitors are not here yet. So just think about that. I mean, you're gonna make like let's say 1 million seller in the States, they're gonna do like 2K to half a million in Europe. And the other thing is with higher profit margin because there's less competitors.
Of course.
You know.
So when you say Europe, how many countries are involved, from, that to get that 50% sales boost?
I think ideally, you start with one country at the beginning. So you're not gonna get that from day one. So the smart way to expand to Europe is the following. Like I said, VAT. Without VAT, you cannot sell anywhere in Europe, in the EU. So you must get at least one VAT. So here is actually a trick that a lot of sellers don't know because Amazon is telling them differently. No, Amazon is telling sellers, okay, if you want to sell to Europe, you need to do the so-called pan-EU VAT registration, which means like 5 or 7 VAT registration to sell in Europe. That's not true. You don't need 5 or 7 VATs. You just need one VAT in a single country in Europe. We always recommend Germany because, as you ask, how easy it is, how hard it depends from the market. So if you go to Spain, it's probably the worst market to start with, where you have an Amazon marketplace. So it's going to take probably 4 or 5 months. I've heard cases of waiting 8 months to get the VAT in Spain. So because they require like notary, you need to go to the embassy in your country to notary legalize your signature. So it's kind of more complicated compared to other countries. So that's why we always recommend Germany. And here are a few tips that I always tell to sellers why you should go to Germany. The first is, of course, Amazon. Germany is the second biggest market after the USA. It used to be down below. I mean, it was not that big, but after Brexit, Germany is the go-to market if you want to sell in Europe. And the other reason is the following. In Germany, they accept documents in English, which means that if you're coming from the States, from the UK, you don't need a translation, so it's easier. Another thing, in Germany, they don't require something which is called the fiscal representation insurance, which means it's cheaper and easier to get the VAT. The fiscal representation insurance is required in some countries when you're a non-EU company. It's like a guarantee that you're going to pay your VAT. So that's how it works. The other thing that a lot of sellers don't know is that when you're a non-EU company, Amazon is going to collect your VAT and they're going to pay that to the tax authority. Which is great. I mean, you don't need to file, don't need to pay any returns. The only thing that you need to do in Amazon is not going to do that for you, is to file the VAT reports on your behalf. And that's what Hello Tax does. But before, of course, you start doing that, you need to do the registration, which takes around 3 months in Germany, which is what usually takes around, it's like 2 to 3 months, but let's say 3 months is the realistic time frame in which you're going to get the VAT. And the other thing that why you should consider Germany is because Germany is in the center of Europe, in the EU, which means that when you're shipping your stock, let's say from Amazon FBA, people in Spain, Portugal, Bulgaria, from the southeast to the southwest or the northwest, whatever, people are going to get that exactly at the same time. Of course, if you ship to Germany, they're going to get it quickly. I think they even have like Amazon Prime in Germany and some other markets, so the delivery will be very quick. But in general, what I would like to say is that Germany is going to allow you to sell to the whole European Union. So 750 million population, that's double the USA population. And like I said, just to summarize, like one VAT in Germany is going to open the whole European Union market. So don't think about other markets at the beginning because you don't know how much sales you're going to do in the other market. So once you start selling, you can actually branch out and get like VAT in, let's say, France, Italy, the other market. So just one VAT is what you need. And the rule is the following. If you hold stock in a certain country, you must have VAT. That's why we recommend to start with Germany. Okay. It's the first place to go.
Great. To follow up on that question, how is the FBA cost, the pick and pack cost in Germany compared to, for example, in Netherlands or Belgium?
To be honest, the storage. I have no idea about that because that's something that is handled by our partners. So our responsibility is to do the market entry, which means get the VAT. Once you get the VAT, we have multiple partners who can help out with that. If you're based in China, we have a partner who is like drip feeding your stock to your warehouse weekly based on the sale velocity, like the sales that you're doing. Or we have the so-called 3PL aggregators, which are people who have like FBA prep centers, close to your warehouse, let's say in Germany, Netherlands, whatever. So unfortunately, I cannot answer the question about the cost. But we have a partner solution which is helping out with that, because that's actually like blocker number 3. We kind of skip blocker number 2, which is the product compliance.
So on the reporting side, for example, if you are, you register for VAT in Germany, right? So we have to report all this VAT to the government authority, right?
Exactly.
In Germany. So how does it work? It means, is there any API link to the Amazon Seller Central? And then the system will pull it, or you have to download the report, then upload it.
That's how it works. With HelloTax, you simply connect your Amazon store.
Yeah.
We pull the data, we file the reports every month, and if you're a non-new company, you don't need to do anything else because Amazon is going to pay the VAT collected to the tax authority. So that's it. You just connect your seller account, and that's it. Of course, at HelloTax, we have like different account managers who speak different languages. Of course, we're talking about like English speakers here, but in general, we have people who speak any language that you can think of. So we have like the technology on the front end, and of course the managed service and the people on the back end, because the one thing that we're finding is an issue with a lot of companies who come to us is communication, or I would say lack of communication. Because let's say if everything is great, you don't need to chat with anybody. But of course, no. You work with tax authorities and they're not, they're like Amazon support them, and sometimes they don't report. So we need to have somebody on our side who can communicate with them and push them to get a resolution for something that might have happened.
I understand what you're saying. Great. And imagine if you get a sale from Italy or Spain, how does it, the calculation counted into the system? So we have to connect that individual account, or will that be pulled from the German itself?
You don't need to do anything, because this is how it works. After Brexit, this is what happened. When you're a non-new company, let's say registered in Germany, whenever you make a sale, you don't, let's say you store your hold your stock in Amazon FBA Germany. So you're going to be fulfilling the order from Germany to the rest of the EU. So this is the quickest and the cheapest way to start. It's not probably the cheapest from the logistic point of view, but from the compliance point of view, it's probably the smartest way to start. So let's say I started Amazon Germany. I get a delivery from Italy. Then what happens? You're selling your product to Amazon, and Amazon then is fulfilling your order for their OSS to the end client. And they're collecting the VAT and they're paying the tax authority. But because you're using Amazon OSS, you don't need to do anything with the Italian tax authority. This is handled by Amazon. So your only responsibility is with Amazon Germany, with the German tax authorities, because Amazon collects the VAT and pay that based on the sale that you did, and then they handle that for their OSS. But in simple terms, they don't need to worry about that, because it used to be we used to have different thresholds. Right now, as a non-EU company selling on Amazon, Amazon is responsible for the VAT collection in those markets, as long as you hold stock only in one country. When you hold stock in multiple countries, then it's different. You're going to report based on the different VATs that you have. But that's only when you have multiple VAT registration, which is the PAN-EU. And of course, as I mentioned, the PAN-EU, you should do that once you see that there is demand and there is sales in the other markets. Because if you have not too much sales, it doesn't make sense to set up VAT. Because why should you do like the reports and all this stuff? You can avoid that. So just follow the demand. And once you see the demand, then you can set up the VAT after that.
Of course, makes sense. Yeah, completely agree. And I've seen on the news that Amazon is planning to launch in the Ireland. So what are your thoughts on that? It's just an English-speaking country to start with. So it will be kind of easy for the US sellers and for the UK sellers. They don't have to translate any listing, right? And what are your thoughts on Ireland, Amazon Ireland, in case?
Yeah, to be honest, Ireland is not such a big market. So I think they're like 4 million population, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And they already have like a huge market in Europe. So To be honest, I have no idea what is the goal behind the Amazon launch in Ireland, because there's bigger markets in Europe which are not developed yet. For example, they launched Belgium, which is like 10 millions. Poland is 40 millions, and there is only 2 million sellers, 2 million like monthly users. So they need to work a lot on the existing markets, in my opinion, because in Poland, Allegro, they're like the dominant marketplace. So
Yeah.
to be honest, I have no idea, because they just launched in South Africa. I think they were planning to that beginning, I think, a year ago. So
Yeah.
it takes time. Amazon probably knows better what they're planning. But see, Ireland is on the end of Europe. So from the logistic points of view, you need to, and other tricky part, Brexit is, UK is outside of Brexit. So logistics, you need to, how are you going to transfer it? Like with ferries, So to be honest, I mean, that's why I give Germany as an example, because they're in the center of Europe, So you can ship to anybody. So probably you need to invite somebody from Amazon to tell what is the deal with Ireland. It's good to have it as a market, but from an expansion point of view, I don't think it's that relevant, because they're separated between the EU, of course, with the North Sea, and the UK, which makes it harder. In my opinion.
And how many markets are there currently in the?
I think 10 or 11. I need to count them, to be honest.
Okay.
I have them here, but what I tell everybody, just consider EU as one market, because there is a misconception that you need multiple VATs, which scares people off. You don't need that. Just what I just start with one market, Germany. It doesn't need to be Germany, of course, if you don't want to, but Germany is the biggest economy. They have made it probably the easiest place to expand to Europe. The other option is Netherlands, which neighbors with Germany. So they're actually another alternative that you can use as well, because in Netherlands, of course, they're famous for their ports, so you can import the stock from there. So that's another alternative as well.
Great. And it means I have, I'm not sure if we can answer this. For example, if a US-based customer or seller or a UK-based seller, they want to use, they don't want to store the goods in Europe, right? But they want to send from US or from the UK. What are the options they have? There are a lot of custom regulations, IOSs and stuff like that.
Exactly. And you need to set up IOSs. This is something that we don't offer, because, it's harder to do. But, in theory, you can do that. But, of course, you need to go for customs, and of course, you kind of delay the shipping. And then that's why we made this package, because the smartest way to do it is to have at least one warehouse in Europe, where you can do the fulfillment, Of course, you can use like FBM, you can use like a 3PL to fulfill that on your behalf for Amazon. But in this case, besides the Amazon, obviously, besides the VAT registration in this market, you would need something which is called OSS. And the OSS would allow you to sell to B2C clients across the EU. But the difference here is that when you don't use Amazon FBA, Amazon is not gonna collect your VAT. So you're adding a little complication, which is the OSS. Plus, you would need to pay your own returns.
Yeah.
So this is the only difference. So selling on Amazon is probably the easiest way to start expanding to the EU, because of them collecting the VAT and allowing to sell to anybody in Europe. Because I'm based in Bulgaria. I order stuff from Amazon Germany all the time. I get it in like a few days. So you can. That's how I see it. And Amazon, they have a lot of work to do in Europe, because the market, they only have like 20% market share. So it's not like in the USA, which is, I think, 50, almost 50, if I'm not mistaken. In Europe, it's 20. So in Germany, in Poland, like I mentioned, Allegro are the main marketplace. In Netherlands, Bol is another one. So there's I think over 40 big marketplaces which are competing with Amazon, and some of them are actually doing very well, to be honest.
Great. And I assume you have helped a lot of sellers to launch in the EU market. What are the best case scenarios that you have seen, from your work in Halotax?
There is actually not such thing as best or the worst case scenario is that you never try. You never even entertain what is the opportunity, because when somebody expands to Europe, we have four like 4 steps that we do. Actually, there are actually 5 steps that we take over. So the first one, which we do is, whenever you're an Amazon seller, you just, or like an e-com seller, or even if you're not a seller but you have a product or an idea, you just send your Amazon store or your idea, and we have a partner. We're using a software to check the opportunity about Europe, so we can see what is the demand, if there is growth. We can actually see who are your competitors, because right now you can take your Amazon's reviews from the USA and you can transfer them here, which means that if you have like few thousand reviews, we can go overnight now to like page number 1, because a lot of niches and categories are not as competitive. So it's actually the worst case that you can do is not to check what is the opportunity, because if there is an opportunity, if your competitors are not as good as in the USA, which is very likely what we've seen, you're just leaving money on the table.
Exactly. Yeah. And regarding, so if we want to explore that opportunity, right, what are the costs, in terms of investment, to set up, the VAT, and there is another sector, for compliance. So just focus on the VAT side. Roughly how much it's going to cost?
VAT is like €1,000 per year.
So it's worth investment, right?
Exactly. For the VAT product compliance, which is the second thing that we didn't discuss, is you need to like a product compliance check. So as an owning company, need to have like a responsible person for the product compliance. That's around 750. So you're looking like 2K, and probably for the rest, which are not like there actually would be ongoing fees like with the shipping and everything. So the cost of the expansion to Europe, you're looking between like 5,000 to 10,000 euro. So that's how much you need to invest. But let's say that's why before you start, we do the opportunity report, because we show you how much is the market share. Because let's say if you're doing, like I said, 1 million in the States, and if we show you that you can do easily like 20 to 50% of what to do here, that's how 200K to 500K. So you can justify the investment.
Of course. Yeah. So it's good to know what you're investing, and then how big the market is. So
exactly,
it will take a lot of stress for sellers.
Exactly. You need to know where you're going, and because Amazon is making it easier, we're using Amazon data to, of course, if you're going to sell off Amazon, you don't have data for that. But since Amazon is the biggest marketplace and with the most data, you can see probably the most accurate trend there. You can see if it's growing, if it's seasonal. So you can see very clearly. I'm not sure if I can share my screen, but I can share like a report just to get an understanding.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Plugs for like, I think swimming will taper. So what happened here? They send their Amazon store, and what our partnership expansion squad is doing. We can see what is the seed keyword, what is the search volume that's in the last 2 years. You can see what is the buyer demand. It's very high, like 100%. Competition opportunity, like investment sweet spot, like revenue potential. So you can actually see what is the search volume. You can see number of search results, units sold, average monthly revenue. You can see like the top 3 additional keywords. So you can kind of measure what is the market in your category, and obviously once you see that, you can say, okay, this makes sense. Of course, this is for the UK, but I'm going to show you for Germany also. We show your top competitors. Okay, who are your competitors? What they're doing? Number of reviews, monthly revenue, like sales, price, what they're doing, how much is their sales price, reviews, etc. And then for Germany, see, like 50,000 search volume. Again, buyer demand, competition opportunity. Of course, like the keywords in German. Of course, the trend, and of course you can see like the demand. That's probably in the summer, when people actually are swimming.
More likely, yeah.
Exactly. And then, of course, you can see like the top competitors. So see if somebody's doing. So those guys were doing like 10,000 reviews in the States, so they can easily go to Germany. See, the main competitor, they're doing like 4K. These guys are doing like 80,000. So you can see who are your competitors, and then, of course, if you decide to expand, your agency, they can go dive deeper into that, and they can see, okay, what we can do better than those guys and how we can actually beat them. And of course, we do that for the major markets, like France. Here you can see France, like Spain as well. And
so this report is included, when you initially open an inquiry. Is that a part of it?
Yeah, it's part of it. You don't pay for that. So it's totally free. But the reason is because I'll tell you why we're doing that. Because I've been a seller, I used to run e-com business, so and I just put myself into the shoes of the other potential sellers. So if I want to expand in Europe, I don't want to hear about VAT, product compliance, logistics, or translations. I want to see how much money I can make. If I see that I'm going to make money, then I don't care too much for the blockers, because the goal is to make more money, and I've seen it that there is an opportunity for that. Then I'm gonna swallow the blockers in a way, because I'm gonna wait a few months and I'm gonna start selling. So that's it. But if you just tell me what are the blockers without the opportunity, why should I care about the blockers if I don't know what I'm gonna make? So that's why we do it like that. And of course you don't pay anything for that, but if you want, we're gonna do it for you. Yeah. And that's how it works.
Yeah, so the sellers can make more informed decision based on the data that you provide. Okay, that's very good, actually. And regarding the registration, so let's assume that a seller want to register for VAT. What are the documents they need? For example, let's take an example for a UK seller. So what are the certificates or the details that they need to have to register for VAT?
Company registration, like directories. There's actually a list of 7 things that you require, but this is like the technical part. I mean, I can pull them from here, but there's like a list of things that we do, and whenever, let's say you decide to go for it, the next thing that you need to do is, we set up a call with our onboarding manager, who is just walking you through everything. Then usually, probably few weeks of the waiting time for the VAT registration is taking for the actual clients to collect the documents. And so the quicker you collect documents, the quicker you're gonna get the VAT. That's why I said that avoid Spain, because Spain is just requiring some stuff, which is, of course, it involves more time to collect that.
It makes sense. And in terms of, let's assume that, the VAT registration are in process in your hands, okay? All the documents, I need to take around 3 months to register. During those time, as a seller, we think about listing the item, right? We have to translate and list the item. Do you have, anyone in your network who can help with those?
We actually have a process for that. So the first thing is, like I said, the VAT. You're gonna wait 2-3 months for that. So in the meantime, we connect with our product compliance partner who can do the product compliance check, because based on what you need, you might need to from a few days to 1 or 2 weeks to take care of the product compliance, labels, specifications, etc. So this is the second thing. The first thing is the logistics. You need to organize how you're going to move your stock to Europe. That's why we have this option, the drip feeding from China or the 3PL aggregator. And the last thing, which it usually is done few months before, few weeks before you launch, is the localization and translation. We have a partner who is helping you with the localized translations, keywords and everything, because, for example, Germany, because we gave that as an example, there is, I think, 8 million Turkish speakers as part of the population. So you need to have Turkish keywords as well there, besides the...
That's a very good tip, yeah.
Yeah. And that's in the other markets. I mean, for example, I'm not sure if you know that, but after Poland entered the European Union, there is over 1 or 2 million Polish immigrants in the UK. So that's even another thing. So there's such things that you need to know. You need to be local, native speaker to know those tricks. And of course, the people that use, they specialize in Amazon localization, so they know all those for each market.
So this is 100% human translation.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't use any.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think that we covered a lot of things. Actually, there is much more than that, but I think these are a good starting point, right? When you want to establish in the EU. And thanks a lot, Nick. I really appreciate all your input.
Thank you, Sebastian. And on purpose, we didn't bore them with the specific, because those are not important. See what is the opportunity, and they think is much easier, because in theory, you can do all that yourself. It's just harder to do it because you don't know how, who. And that's what we do as part of my network. We have all the people who can help out with those things and anything that you might need eventually when you expand Europe. So just make like life easier with our partnership network.
Great. I'll put a link in the description as well that will take to Nick's LinkedIn profile. You will find all those details there. Thanks a lot for watching.
Thank you, Sebastian.